So imagine waking up one morning and seeing this headline that 1 US dollar is equal to 100 rupees. People will actually lose their minds. People will declare this as a national crisis. There will be blame game across all the spectrums of society. The so called financial influencers, fin influencers, will rush to explain this phenomenon without even brushing their teeth and try to come up with asinine reasons as to explain why this happened, what went wrong, where it went wrong, how to blame somebody, how to blame uh, everybody under the sun. But fundamentally, people will always forget to ask, what does this actually means to us? What does a rupee touching a dollar touching 100 rupee mark means to us? So the reason for this video came about because of this exchange on Twitter. I humbly suggest that you follow Yusuf Bhai and Rohit Bhai. They do fantastic analysis on everything. Yusuf Bhai, I like Yusuf Bhai because he's into manufacturing, and I like Rohit Bhai because he has a basic understanding of most of things. Whether you agree with them or not, I suggest you follow them because of the insights that they provide. So welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about a important aspect or an important topic, and we'll have a hard look at whether as Rohit Bhai says, that fighting the exchange rate is a fool's errand when it comes to the rupee debate, the great rupee debate. See, as I said earlier, what should be the focus here? What should RBI do? What should the government do? What should be the government's response, policymakers' response to this sliding of rupee? As I am recording this video, a single dollar costs 94.95 paise, 94 rupees 95 paise, close to 95 rupees. $1 is equal to 95 rupees as of recording of this video. The question is, are we focusing on the wrong thing altogether? Should the RBI of fight aggressively to defend the rupee, or should it allow market forces to determine where the rupee stands? I'll try to examine the both sides of it. We'll try to look at the examples from around the world, and I think I'll make an attempt to answer this question. So let us begin. So what is exchange rate essentially means? Let us understand that in a simple way. Most people have this belief that a strong currency automatically translates into a strong country. When it comes to economics, nothing is simple here. Even I had trouble understanding what the hell this is. This is not an expert opinion. This is merely me trying to break down this into something that is palatable, digestible. So an exchange rate is simply the price of one currency relative to the other. So if today a single dollar gives you 95 rupees, tomorrow it may give you 100. But that doesn't mean that India became weaker over a period of time. Okay. There are several factors that actually impact exchange rates. One is interest rates, one is trade balances. What are our growth trajectories looking at, and what the hell is happening in the global level? There is utter chaos in the global economic, whatever you call it, layer or whatever it is. There is utter chaos. Nobody knows what the hell is happening and when everything will end. See, in fact, some of the world's strongest economies have seen a significant fluctuations in their currencies. Not only now, during the course of past decade or so. So essentially, A currency does not define the strength of a country. It's just a market price, right? So the question, and I'm going to rake up Shamika, her statement that what if it touches 100? Exactly. I'm not taking her side. I'm not taking anybody's side. I'm trying to explain what I understand of the whole thing. And I don't think she's entirely wrong, and I don't think Yusuf Bhai is also entirely wrong. We'll come to that conclusion. So the real question is, isn't whether the rupee is at 95 rupees, or will it be 100 rupees or 110 rupees. Uh, the question should be, does this exchange rate reflect the economy of our country? So I'm playing the devil's advocate here. So we'll go on the both sides of the argument. So let us first take up this argument in favor of RBI. So should RBI intervene in controlling the fall of the rupee or stabilizing the rupee? So if you believe the supporters of this argument, if you allow the rupee to weaken drastically, it would create some, or it would impose some economic costs on us, which is bad. So the question comes down to the concept of imported inflation. Whether we like with this or not, India imports around 80% of it are energy requirements. Given the current global scenario in terms of Iran war, in terms of the Russian war, Russia Ukraine war, the price of crude oil has gone up significantly. You and me and everybody are feeling the pinch, and we have the speciality of Gadkari ji coming in with his ethanol and butanol. We know how that is going on, but oil prices have gone up significantly across the globe. So, what happens in this scenario if the rupee weakens? The direct impact is going to be that the fuel is going to get more expensive than what it is today. As a result, the transportation cost increases. As a result, the manufacturing cost increases, and inevitably, the prices of food items or food goods also goes up. Eventually, everybody has to pay more than what they are paying now. So, what it essentially does is it will directly contribute to inflation. So, for a country of our size, inflation is not just an economic or a number problem. It is a serious socio-economic problem, and invariably, for a country like India, it becomes a political problem. So, that is the main issue with inflation. For example, in 2002, the US Federal Reserve started raising interest rates abnormally, and as a result, the strength of dollar has gone up significantly when compared to other currencies across the world. Countries like us, which were heavily reliant on energy imports, experienced higher inflations due to this. Because of our currency weakened, our oil bill went up. Oil bill went up. There were first order effects, second order effects, and third order effects. As a result, inflation shot up. So, as a result, everything became more expensive. So, in 2002, to control the inflation, to rein in the inflation, as one calls it, the central bank started intervening in the process and tried to control the control this, try to control this fluctuation in the currency. Mm, yeah. As I said, a weaker rupee will affect a common Indian citizen directly. It will have impact on his day-to-day life as everything becomes more expensive. So what it essentially does is it essentially reduces the purchasing power of an individual or a family. Not only that, apart from the inflation and apart from the purchasing power thing, it also reduces the investor confidence. uh, I think most of the financial markets are psychological. I, depending on mood, they fluctuate. If somebody is having a headache, one stock goes up. If somebody gives a chocolate to other person, a different stock goes up completely unrelated to that stock. So these are psychological. What happens when a currency declines is it brings in fear. It drives up the concern of the foreign investors, also domestic investors. The trust that these investors place on the central bank, such as RBI, goes down. Even though your year over year growth or your GDP numbers show that you are a healthy economy when compared to others, whatever these global shocks that countries around the world are experiencing, you are not experiencing, you are kind of immune to that, not totally, but compared to other countries, you are faring better. Even in that scenario, people will have that lingering doubt in their mind because market sentiments are psychological. They can go bad very fast. So that is the reality, right? So there is that. Not only that, you cannot fix this with a simple policy change. It is a dynamic thing. It is not a static thing, right? The fluctuation of the volatility of a currency is not static. It is dynamic. Not only that, I think many companies borrow money in dollars, not only dollars, in some other currencies also. So when these companies borrow that money, when they're trying to pay back that loan because of this thing, the loan becomes far more expensive, hmm, because of the exchange rates. At the end of the day, it will hurt the company that is trying to pay back the debt, because whatever the profits that they kind of got out of it might end up actually being used to service the debt itself. See, the strongest argument for RBI intervention is not protecting the number itself or the exchange rate itself. It is actually to prevent a chaos in the market. Everybody agrees that the role of the central bank is to smoothen the volatility, make the ride smooth, make the depreciation smooth or rise smooth. Everybody accepts a stable adjustment than a sudden shock. So that is the major points that I could find when it comes to defending RBI intervention in maintaining the value of the rupee. Now, invariably, we have to look against defending the rupee also, right? Because we have both types of arguments in the tweet that I have posted. What is the argument, opposite argument here? Many believe this fighting to keep the value of the rupee stable is a lost cause, because they say that market forces are bigger than central banks. At the end of the day, the currency of a country is a direct reflection of the economic fundamentals of that country. For example, if investors start preferring dollars over rupees, all the central bank can do for a short period of time is to push back on that, but they cannot do it forever, right? It is not an infinite money glitch. Every country's foreign resource or foreign exchange is finite. You cannot overpower a market force, because that is a fool's errand, as Rohit Bhai says, because it is expensive. It is very expensive, right? So central banks can influence markets temporarily, but can they sustain it for a long periods of time or permanently? The answer is simply no. So you cannot suppress the global realities, because that can kind of tinker with the markets, which again will have a negative impact. So instead of fighting what is happening in front of you, you try to adapt to it the best way you can by protecting your short term interest and protecting your long term interest. Meaning you take hits in the short run, but at the end of the day, you'll win in the long run. I don't think I said it right, but I think that is the sentiment here. You take hits in the short run, but your future will be sound. So the second argument that they kind of rely on is exports. A weaker rupee can benefit exports, particularly exporters. For example, companies that are export dependent, software companies, pharmaceuticals, manufacture to a good extent. They earn revenue in dollars. So when those conversions take place, when those dollars are converted into rupees, the revenue goes up, which is a good thing. So this kind of improve the profitability and the competitiveness. So that is one way of saying it. The argument that they kind of again rely on is saving foreign exchange reserves. See, a country's foreign exchange is a strategic asset. You cannot use it willy nilly to fulfill your short term fancies. They are a strategic asset, they serve a very important purpose. They are the backbone of financial stability. They allow us to insulate ourselves to a certain extent from external shocks. They allow us to absorb those external shocks. So using this strategic asset to defend a exchange rate may not be the best use is one argument. So having that strategic reserve full will always ensure that you are much more prepared for genuine emergencies that might arise. And the final argument that they kind of rely is that the number is arbitrary itself. It is a psychological. According to the people who say that RBI shouldn't fight to uh, prevent rupee from crossing 100, it's a psychological barrier. They say that it's a psychological barrier. What does it mean when it is 95 and 100 or 99 and 100? It changes very little. I think their way of saying is that RAR, it's an emotional number, it's an emotional significance, but it doesn't matter whether it is 99 or 95 or 92 or 100. What actually matters is what is the inflation, what is the growth trajectory, how is employment looking, what is the manufacturing state of our country, how is the productivity looking, and how well are we attracting investments. To a certain extent, I agree with this, because a healthy economy can exist with a weaker currency, but a stronger currency and a weaker all these things might not ensure that we sustain, right? Because as I said, a healthy economy can exist with a weaker currency, but does a stronger currency guarantee a prosperous economy? I don't have that knowledge to understand that, but I think that dichotomy should be studied more. I think somebody in the expert economic expertise can answer that question, whether this dichotomy is sustainable or not. See, what happens if a rupee touches 100? We'll experience high inflation. People might pull out their investments. We'll see some instability. But does this address structural issues in our economy? I don't think so. Simultaneously, the rupee also can reach because the strength of the dollar goes up. Um, yes. See, my understanding is that after doing some reading about this, a scenario where a dollar is 100 rupees might not be a crisis. It could simply represent what the global volatility is going on. What should be our concern is how healthy our economy is. Are we bringing in the reforms that are actually needed for a growth of our economy? Is what we should be focusing on. So, what should RBI do actually? As I said, the best approach for this predicament somewhere lies in between both of these extremes. They should find a middle ground of both of these arguments. That should be the way forward, right? So, what is the final verdict here? What has been the philosophy of our RBI is that we are managing volatility, we are not targeting a level. That has been the strategy or the philosophy of RBI since long. We need our fundamentals to be strong. The goal of us should be that our fundamentals of our economy are strong. Once those fundamentals are strong, I think we can defend against any instability in the world. So we have to build our economy and our economic fundamentals to insane levels. So India's economic strength should be determined by how productive we are, how innovative we are, how much of our investments are we attracting, and what is our manufacturing strength. These should define Indian economy. I don't think exchange rate should determine the economy. Yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me rambling for the last 15 or 20 minutes. This is my opinion. I want your opinion also. Let me know. Thanks for tuning in. Please do subscribe. Thank you. Namaste.